And welcome to Barca News. It is November 30th, 2025. And Sebastian Stazimski revealing that Robert Lewandowski encouraged the sacking of Xavi Hernandez. Also, Barcelona are reportedly interested in a Leipzig player. And finally, Barcelona have found out not one, but two release clauses of two Barcelona targets. We have a lot to discuss, so let's begin. Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. My name is Mo and we'll begin this video with the news that Sebastian Stazewski has revealed that Robert Lewandowski encouraged Barcelona's board to sack Xavi Hernandez. Now, you don't know who Sebastian Stazewski is. We've been talking about him for not quite some time, but several videos by now, because he is a biographer who has released a biography of Robert Lewandowski. A authorized biography, by the way. Stazewski did meet with Lewandowski several times to talk about it, and Lewandowski has authorized this biography, and he has revealed that Lewandowski encouraged the sacking of Xavi Hernandez in the following statements by Stazewski. Xavi knew that Lewandowski had become his rival in the dressing room, but life showed that it was Xavi who had to leave the club. Flick came along, and suddenly Robert played a fantastic season. When it comes to winning, Lewandowski is relentless. It's crazy. He has a deep desire to win that leads Robert to apply a very simple division in his life. Those who help him succeed are friends, and those who stand in his way are enemies. If a coach hinders his convictions, Robert usually thinks he's right. So Stazewski revealing that Xavi Hernandez had kind of become a hindrance in Lewandowski's path, and therefore he encouraged his sacking. And of course, this is not completely new news, because we had heard plenty of reports in the past about how Lewandowski was not happy with Xavi. He felt that Xavi's training sessions were not intense enough, that he wasn't requiring enough of his players. In fact, we also found out that a lot of players had hired their own physical trainers, their personal physical trainers, because they felt like they weren't getting what they needed during those training sessions. So then they would go and train with their own physical trainers. So we've known that from before. So this is not completely new news that Lewy was not happy with how Xavi was running things, running training sessions. And of course, Xavi himself admitted recently that he had lowered his standards when it came to the team. And in fact, Stazewski also revealed that this is not the first time that Lewy has actually had a hand in the sacking of a coach whose standards dropped, because he said this about the sacking of Ancelotti at Bayern Munich. He didn't like, among other things, that his assistant smoked in training, that the intensity of the sessions was too low. And again, which goes to show how competitive Lewandowski is, how demanding he is of himself, his teammates, and of his coaches, where if he feels like the coach is not demanding or is not being, doing his job, he does not like that. And he had a hand in the sacking of Ancelotti at Bayern, and it looks like also Xavi at Barcelona. Anyway, so let's move on to the next bit of news, because the German media outlet Bild, who's usually a pretty reliable source with everything that comes to the German market, has revealed that Barcelona have an interest in a Leipzig player whose name is Assan Ouedrago. I think that's how you say his name. Now, if you don't know who Assan Ouedrago is, he is 19-year-old midfielder, center midfielder. He can also play as an attacking midfielder and can also play as a left winger. He currently plays his trade at Leipzig with a contract that runs until 2029, and he has also started for the German national team. Now, it's reported that Barcelona have developed an interest in this youngster alongside also Liverpool and Arsenal. And so far, Assan Ouedrago this season has scored 3 goals, provided 4 assists in 12 matches. Now, Assan, who started his career at the Schalke Academy, has a 10 million market value, but they're saying Leipzig would want 100 million euros. Now, I talked about during today's first video about Barcelona wanting Ian Diomande, and they also want 100 million euros for him. And I said in that video, and I'll say it again, I think Leipzig have lost their freaking mind. 100 million euros for a 19-year-old midfielder who has yet to prove anything is absolutely insane. I don't know who's the guy who does the valuations at Leipzig or who is doing, their appraiser is, but they have lost the plot. 100 million euros. Are you fucking kidding me? Have we lost our minds? Anyways, let's move on to the next bit of news because Barcelona have found out the two release clauses of two of their targets. It's starting with João Victor de Souza, otherwise known as Souza. Now, this is a name I mentioned a few days ago. He's a 19-year-old left back currently playing at Santos, one of their most promising players currently on their team. Lots of European clubs interested in him, including Bayern Munich, who have already initiated contact with Santos for the transfer of João Victor de Souza or Souza. He's a player who's compared to Marcelo, if you want a kind of a reference of the style or the profile of Souza, someone who's been compared to Marcelo. But Barcelona now know what his release clause is, and it stands currently at 15 million euros. 15, not 50. After all, this is not Leipzig. It's Santos. About 15 million euros for the 19-year-old left back who currently plays at Santos. I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you believe this will be a good investment? As you know, Barcelona are considering signing a left back that can compete with Balde. 15 million. It's not too bad for a promising player. It'd be nice if it was 10 or 8. I don't know. But 15 doesn't seem like too crazy of an amount, like 100 million, for example. For Assan, of course, I leave it up to you guys. Let me know down below in the comment section. Do you think this is a signing Barcelona should make? Yes, no? Let me know down below. Now, the second release clause that Barcelona are now aware of is of another Barca target, which is no other than Serhou Guirassy. As you know, Flick has requested the reinforcement of 3 positions, the center back, the center forward, and the left wing. The center forward, of course, they need someone to replace Robert Lewandowski. Guirassy is one of those names on that list. 29, currently planning his trade at Dortmund with a contract that expires until 2028. And with reports stating that Guirassy is looking to leave Dortmund. There's other clubs interested in him, of course. But now it's been revealed that he does have a release clause in his contract. And that, of course, is news because release clauses are not mandatory in other leagues. In Spain, it is. Every player needs to have a release clause in La Liga. Other leagues are not. So not all contracts have release clauses. So when we find out about a release clause, it is news. Not when it's in La Liga, because they all have them, but in other leagues, it is. And of course, that's always advantageous because if a player doesn't have a release clause, then you have to negotiate with the club where the player plays. And then you're at their mercy. They can ask for whatever they want, and you would have to pay it. If there's a release clause, you don't have to negotiate. You pay the release clause, the player is yours, bye. Of course, the player has to agree as well. Right, but Guirassy has a release clause worth 50 million euros, but it only applies to the following clubs: Barcelona, Real Madrid, Manchester City, Liverpool, Chelsea, Arsenal, and Manchester United. So if any of these 7 clubs, including Barcelona, wanna sign Guirassy, they could pay the 50 million euro release clause. Any other club, they would have to negotiate directly with Dortmund. And of course, my question to you is, do you think Barcelona should activate this clause? Do you think 50 million for Guirassy is worth it? Yes, no? Let me know down below in the comment section. And with that, these are all the videos for today. I have made 3. This is the 3rd one. Now I need to go to a wedding. The wedding starts at 6 p.m. It's 5:30. So needless to say, I'm going to be very late. So I'm going to go run, shower, change, and head to the wedding. But thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment, and as always, Viscarsa.